Hello. These are Hughes 4310 connectors for the Hughes equivalent of LDF4-50 cable. I'm going to make a little video on how we terminate it. These are the connectors. They come with a O-ring or a gasket inside, and they come apart like this, and they've got one of these doodads inside that's captive in here. So this has got teeth on the inside that grips into a valley of the ridges. So we also have this tool. This is the manual prep tool for Hughes. It's got like a Stanley blade this side for the pin, and then this little mini cutting blade for the jacket. So this is LDF4-50 cable. I reckon you want to count about 8 ridges. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's probably too much, but never mind. Get a knife, score around there. Jack it off. And then in the tool, it's sprung, so if to sort of hold it open, but you can see in here, let's get something to point with, the end of these pliers, you can see in here there is a sort of extra indentation, or opposite of an indentation, that goes in a ridge. So we're going to put the cable in so that there is black over where this is going to cut through, so that makes a nice clean cut in the jacket, and the ridge in the ridge receiver. So we want to be like that, I would say. Now we close it. There is an arrow here that shows the direction. So we just put light pressure and round we go. Cutting. Go around an extra couple of turns for good measure. Tool off. We'll come to it later, but you notice this tool has a flaring tool on it as well, which is quite nice. This has made a cut in the jacket here, very close to where we cut before. So let's take that off. And it's also made an incision, probably difficult to see in the camera, but it's there at the end of my nail. Weapon of choice is mole grips. Pinch that. Pull that off the pin, and then it calls for 8mm of pin. Now, it doesn't come with one of these, but we have one in our bag. These come with the Comscope connectors. If you put that over there, it's 7.5mm, and then if you cut with something like this, there's another mil or so between the edge and the actual cutting surface. So if we mark right there, score that round, take off the guide, we've got that scored there. We can then go round, squeeze, 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 file. Try and chamfer that off a little bit. There we go. Next we want O-ring on. Try not to cut your fingers. O-ring goes there. Then we want this guy to go on. He wants to go on further than you might initially think. So you see these teeth. Those teeth are currently poking out slightly above. They actually want to sink into the first ridge. So I'm going to push that on really hard. Splay those out like that. Okay. What we can see is we fucked that one. Because it's grabbed that bit. So I'm going to do that again. Okay, we're back. These are a pain in the arse to get back out again if you mess them up. Because these grip in and they're a one-way ticket. The way to do it is to pull the pin through. So grab the pin with mole grips, yank it through, and then the rest will just sort of collapse around the hole that it uses. The other important thing to not have what just happened happen again is to make sure that none of this outer here is starting to tip inwards. Because if it's starting to tip inwards, it will just get grabbed as you slide the back of the connector over. So let's try that again. So onto here, pop it on, try and line this guy up, try and make sure that same thing isn't happening. Okay, that's looking good so far. Okay, you're back. I fucked it up again. Basically, what Andy's just advised me is that this guy is sprung for a reason. I shouldn't be gripping this at all. I should just let this on it and then only use this part to push around. So it's cutting with very, very light pressure. So it starts off scoring and then very gradually winds its way through the outer copper, because then it ends up with a beautiful, perfectly round cut. And I was getting a bit of a like slight crimp on it, which was making these the teeth on this guy wander off. This guy that I was using has now broken. It's come apart there like that. So we'll put that in the broken pile over there. That's a spare O-ring, and this is a fresh one. So get him ready. Get this done again. So I'm reusing the old O-ring. Let's get that one out of the way. So we'll poke this guy out so he's ready. Okay, sitting nice now. So all the teeth are just down and in the first valley. You can just see in this piece of dielectric here, there's a piece of copper. Get rid of him. And now we're going to use the flaring tool built one. hands. That's now flared out. A few shards of copper there, but should be okay. And then we put this guy on. He goes on quite hard. Start the threads. And do that tight. Not fiendishly tight. These aren't positive stops, so they just want to be tightened to what seems reasonable. Like that. And that is it. That's done. So yeah, I've learnt in the course of this video as well. Let me just quickly show you. So if you want to take these off again, what I've been doing is chopping back here, undoing the connector, side there. So basically you want to try and pull this guy through. So if you get a set of grips that hold this, some mole grips set quite tight, even tighter, rotate to like get it off the glue and dielectric, and then pull it out. Then you can kind of get this to collapse into the hole. So if you get a screwdriver and start it off on its way, see there, and do that every other notch. This is just if you want to take a connector off and reuse it, which is obviously not advised, but sometimes you just have to do it. So that's sort of very good to focus. Started that collapsing in, and then we should be able to get our grips and pull this out of the back. There you go, got the O-ring on it. There we go. Thanks.